The observation deck of the Galactic Council station hummed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 alien voices. Ambassador Zixthor of the Crystalline Collective watched through multifaceted eyes as the human delegation entered. Among them walked a boy, silent, observant, his dark eyes taking in everything while his lips remained sealed. The mute one. Zixthor's aide whispered, "Katniss Everdeen, 12 cycles old, has never spoken a single word." Katniss moved through the crowd like water, his guardian Neo keeping a protective hand near his shoulder. The boy had been selected for the Youth Cultural Exchange program, though many questioned the wisdom of sending a child who could not communicate. Earth's ambassador had insisted, however, and humanity's recent elevation to council membership meant their requests carried weight. What the galaxy didn't understand about humans, Zixthor mused, was that they communicated in ways that transcended mere words. The weeks passed, and Katniss became a fixture on the station. He attended every diplomatic function, every cultural exchange, every scientific demonstration. He never spoke, but he listened with an intensity that made even the most verbose species fall silent. His hands moved constantly, sketching, writing, gesturing, creating entire conversations without sound. Neo, his guardian, explained when necessary. Katniss understands everything. He simply chooses silence. But the way Neo said it suggested there was more to the story, depths the galaxy wasn't privy to. The dragon arrived on the 73rd day. She came not as a delegate, but as a myth made manifest, Sarathia the Eternal, last of the ancient ones who had watched civilizations rise and fall across millennia. Her scales shimmered with colors that had no names in any current language, and her presence made the station's artificial gravity feel suddenly inadequate. She was enormous, easily filling the grand hall, yet moved with impossible grace. The council members prostrated themselves or offered equivalent gestures of respect. Dragons were beyond politics, beyond the petty squabbles of younger races. They appeared rarely, and never without purpose. Sarathia's ancient eyes swept across the assembled beings and stopped on the small human boy standing perfectly still near the viewing port. While others cowered or knelt, Katniss simply watched her with those dark, fathomless eyes. The dragon moved toward him, each step resonating like distant thunder. Neo moved to intercede, but Ambassador Zixthor held him back with a crystalline appendage. "Wait," the ambassador said. "This is might unprecedented." Sarathia lowered her massive head until her eye, golden and deep as a sun's core, was level with Katniss. The boy didn't flinch. He reached out one small hand and placed it on her scaled snout, a gesture of breathtaking audacity or innocence. Perhaps both. The dragon's voice, when she spoke, bypassed ears entirely. It resonated in minds and souls, in the fabric of reality itself. Katniss, just his name, nothing more. But the way she said it carried the weight of recognition, of seeing, of knowing. The boy's eyes widened. His hand trembled against her scales. And then, for the first time in his 12 years of life, Katniss spoke. "You see me." 3 words, barely a whisper, but they shattered the silence like a star going supernova. Neo gasped. The assembled diplomats froze in collective shock. Sarathia's rumble might have been laughter or sorrow or both. "I see you, little human. I see what you carry. The weight of words that were used as weapons. The silence you chose as armor." Katniss's voice grew stronger, each word emerging like something precious and fragile. "Everyone talks. They use words to lie, to hurt, to hide. I thought if I stayed quiet, I couldn't be like them. And yet," the dragon said, her voice gentle as starlight, "you have more to say than all of them combined. Silence can be wisdom, young one, but it can also be a prison." The boy looked down at his hands, the hands that had drawn pictures, written notes, crafted entire worlds without sound. "I'm afraid," he admitted, his voice cracking. "What if my words are wrong? What if I hurt someone?" Sarathia lifted her head and her gaze swept across the entire assembly. "Words are power, yes. They can destroy or create. But you humans possess something unique in this galaxy. The ability to choose every single moment what kind of power you wield. Your species has spoken lies and truths, waged wars with rhetoric and forged peace with promises. But I have watched you across your short history, and I have seen something the others miss." She turned back to Katniss. "Humans always try again. You fail, you fall, you speak words you regret, and then you rise and try to speak better ones. This is your strength, Not that you are perfect, but that you refuse to stop trying. Katniss wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I've been quiet for so long. Then perhaps, Sarathea said, it is time to make noise. The boy looked at Neo, who was openly weeping now, then at the assembled aliens who had watched his silence with pity or curiosity or dismissal. He straightened his small shoulders and spoke clearly. My name is Katniss. I'm from Earth. I've been watching all of you, learning your languages, your customs, your fears and hopes. I stayed silent because I thought I had nothing important enough to say. But I was wrong. His voice grew stronger with each word. I've seen you negotiate treaties without understanding each other. I've watched you argue using words as weapons. Maybe I can help. Not because humans are better, but because sometimes an outsider who's been listening can hear what everyone else misses. Ambassador Zixthor stepped forward, crystalline form chiming softly. The boy speaks wisdom beyond his years. Srathea's laugh echoed through the hall like ancient bells. Not beyond his years, exactly because of his years. Humans live fast, burn bright, and in their brief time they learn to see what we immortals often forget, that every word matters because time itself is precious. The dragon began to fade, her task complete. Speak, Katniss of Earth, speak your truth. Make your mistakes. And when you fail, as all beings do, speak again better. This is the human way, the refusal to accept that any silence must be permanent, that any mistake must be final. As Sarathea vanished like morning mist, Katniss turned to face the council. His silence had ended, not with a bang but with understanding. That courage wasn't the absence of fear but the decision to speak despite it. I have a lot to say, he told them, his voice young but certain. If you're willing to listen. And the galaxy for once was.